A Plaguelands Media production.
Hey everyone, this is Hugh from Plaguelands Media bringing you another book review today. So cheers. Today I am looking at the second book in the Firemane Saga, the direct sequel to King of Ashes, which I have read and reviewed on this channel. And that is Queen of Storms. Now this was the first time I had actually read this, so I didn't have much of an idea of where the story was going, which is something that I really enjoy, although there is comfort in going back and rereading books that you have actually read before, as a lot of you well know. The title itself is a reference to something that happens at the very end of the novel, very similar to King of Ashes, in that the title becomes more apparent the further you get into the novel there. So, Queen of Storms, you can see, fantastic, beautiful cover with the ship and the ocean. So you assume that this is going to be kind of a pirate-themed story, a lot of nautical stuff, and to an extent it is, but only in about the last quarter of the book, which is perfectly fine. Now we return with all of the characters. We have Hatu, Hava, we have Declan and Gwen, Jusan, Declan's apprentice, and Millie. We have Baron Jumark and his half-brother Belvern. All of these characters kind of come back, but we do have some new characters in here, and we do have twists on some of the characters that we met in the first book, like Master Bodai and the false monk Catharian. The new characters include, what's the dude's name? I literally just read it before I started this review. Bernardo Del Nozio, who is kind of the advisor to King Lodovico and is very high up in the Church of the One. And we have his kind of second in command and personal assassin, Piccolo, who doesn't actually play the instrument, the piccolo, but in his younger days he once beat someone to death with a piccolo, hence his kind of nickname. So these new characters kind of all come into it. Unlike King of Ashes, which basically was a story that followed Hatu on one side and Declan on the other, and then their stories were brought together at the end. It was like a very wide branching kind of book. This is a little tighter, a little more not self-contained so much as a lot of the action kind of happens very close, but the story now splits into three, where we're following Declan, we're following Hatu, and we're following Hava, because they get split up towards the, I'd say the end of the first quarter of the book. And then we kind of, it's three stories split into one with a smattering of others thrown in there. This was a worthy book too. It felt very much like Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, in that the heroes seem to always be on the back foot here. And that's not a bad thing, actually. I mean, they do have their victories every so often, but they really are in a bind in this one. And you struggle during the book to see how they're actually going to get out of it, which I thought was really, really great. So, if you want to read this for yourself, stop the video here, go and check some of our other videos, especially the ones that are promoting the Kickstarter that we have coming up. You will be able to find a link for that Kickstarter below in the description of this video, as well as the fantastically animated teaser trailer for one of our kind of projects that Plaguelands Media has been working on. So if you don't want to know what happens in the book, go and do that. But if you do want to know what happens in Queen of Storms, because you couldn't be bothered reading it for yourself, hey, stick around for the next episode of...
Read a fucking book. Read a fucking book. Read a fucking book. Read a fucking book. People.
I am going to start this video by just having a little caveat here. If you can hear some kind of banging noise in the background, that's just coming from outside. So just ignore it. I've got all the windows open because it's actually a cool day today over here, and just wanted to get some air flowing through the place. Now, the book starts with a little prologue about the head of the Church of the One and how he has been kind of manipulating King Lodovico. And he sends his right-hand man off because they are convinced that the last of the Firemanes is somewhere in Markansas, the duchy, or the barony, I should say, that is ruled over by Baron Dumas with the help of his half-brother. We then move to Baron's Hill, where Declan is, doing his smithy stuff. Hatu and Harver are running the inn, which is quickly grown popular. Radigan comes back with Roz, and it's all leading up to Midsummer, where Declan and Gwen are going to be wed. Hatu and Harver are going to be wed, and Declan's apprentice, I should say, Jusan, really wants to wed Millie, but Millie is umming and ahhing. She's still very upset over the events of what happened in the last book, where she and Gwen were taken and Declan went off and rescued them. She was a bit traumatized by that. So the book begins with these friendships really solidifying themselves, although Hatu and Harver are keeping their secrets. They don't want anyone to know they're from the island of Colchartan. So they're kind of playing their cards very close to their chest. During the Midsummer celebrations, a band of mercenaries comes and they just want to celebrate. There have been mercenaries going all through Baron's Hill and all over the place, and Declan and Radigan and Hatu have actually gone and spoken to the Baron about the amount of mercenaries that are around, and the Baron has decided to kind of look into it because it's not right. So these mercenaries come, and while they are kind of celebrating, and the mercenaries aren't doing anything wrong, they're basically just wanting to relax, Baron's Hill gets attacked. And the mercenaries decide, after being told that they will get paid handsomely, they decide to fight for Baron's Hill, which they do. They kind of drive off these attackers, but at the same time, Baron's Hill gets completely wiped out, burnt to the ground, and while Declan and Hatu manage to get away, Harver has ridden to the Baron with Molly Bowman in order to tell him what's going on. While going through the rubble, they discover that Gwen, Jusan, and Millie have been killed. Perhaps. Declan doesn't take this well, clearly, and ends up joining the mercenary group. And his main goal is to find whoever killed his new wife. They'd been married less than like 8 hours. His apprentice and his apprentice's girl as well. Now, while this is going on, Hatu actually gets kidnapped. And he gets kidnapped by the fake monk Catharian that he met in King of Ashes. And Catharian tells him that he is part of this order that has basically taken the Firemane children in and trained them in the use of their powers, because he has these abilities that kind of stem from anger and rage, which he feels a lot of, but has never kind of utilized before. We find out that there's a society on this island called the Sanctuary, and the women in this society have the ability to locate the Firemane children, and that is how Catharian has managed to find him, along with a couple of other people. While this is going on, Dante returns, Hatu's friend who was captured with him and taken to the realm of like the sea witches. He just walks out of the ocean with amnesia, living in this fishing village, suddenly gets his memories back and has to go and find Hatu and Hava, and he believes that his purpose to do that is to kill Hatu. In this book, he is a very kind of ambiguous character. He's almost Joker-esque in the way that he switches personalities. It's really quite fascinating when you read it. So all of this is happening, and Declan and the mercenary company go and kind of fight some this group called the Ashante, which they seem to come from a different part of the world of Garn. If you remember, it was made up of North Tembria and South Tembria. These people come from past the Endless Depths. We don't really get any South Tembria stuff in this book at all. So these new villains are very similar to the Island of Assassins in Kolchatan. They are warriors, they are killers, they are pirates, they are kind of all of those things. Hava and Molly end up getting captured by them and put on a slave ship in the, Port Colsus, which is still part of Markins's barony. It has been taken over and it has also been razed to the ground. And so they get put on this slave ship where Hava manages to kind of lead a rebellion and get all of the slaves freed, and they take over the ship, and she fucking sails it away looking for Hatu, trying to kind of find Hatu, who she believes has been taken by these same slavers. Declan meets back up with Radigan, who is got split up from Roz, and Radigan gives him this idea that it seems like these armies aren't looking to conquer, they are looking to push people into the barony. So everyone is kind of confined in one spot, and that way Lodovico can slowly take over North Tembria, is his theory, which Declan thinks is a good one, and takes it to Baron Dumark, who kind of takes the idea on board. This isn't an invasion. This is kind of a rounding up. In the meantime, Hava decides that she is going to... They land on this island, managing to sell some of the goods that were on this ship. It I believe it was like a treasure ship, so they kind of get some money and they decide the main ship of the fleet, the Queen of Storms, is in a bay on the other side of the island. We're going to take that ship and we're just going to get the fuck out of here. And so they hatch a plan, pull it off with a few casualties, of course, and manage to steal the Queen of Storms and sail it away. At which time, the head of this pirate group, realizing that the fleet has been kind of taken, the head of the fleet has been taken, the treasure ship has been taken, is really, really pissed off. Hava manages to actually reunite with Hatu, and the book ends with both of them heading to the sanctuary with Catharian and also Master Bodai, who we discover while he was a Kolchatan master, he was actually part of the sanctuary group all along and was sent to Kolchatan as a spy. And this kind of comes as a shock to Hava and Hatu. And that is where Queen of Storms ends. I left a lot out, a lot of the battles and things like that happen in this thing, but that is pretty much the main plot of this book. Did I enjoy it? Fuck yeah. It was amazing, and I cannot wait to read Master of Furies, which is book 3 in the series, which I will be reading after I finish the book I'm currently reading to review on the channel. So, there you have it. Raymond Feist still remains my favourite fantasy author of all time. I just absolutely love his books. I love his writing style, his characters, his world building. It's just fascinating and fantastic and so much fun to read these books. So there you have it. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, leave a comment, have a drink. But, of course, most importantly, follow all of Plaguelands Media's stuff. We are having a blast creating art and stories and content. And we're not profiting from any of this. I don't have any sponsors for the video. I've got 490 subscribers. I do this because I enjoy doing it. It's fun for me. I write because I enjoy it. Ian Van Gammett does his art because he enjoys it. Sure, would we love to profit from our work? Yeah, of course we would. Would we love to do this for a living? Actually, I wouldn't want to review books for a living. I like my job. But if we can get Plaguelands Media off the ground, with your help, of course, it all happens because of you people that follow us, then by all means, help us out. Go to the Kickstarter, link in the description below, check it out, watch the videos, comment on the videos, tell your friends about us. It's all good. But most importantly, of course, stay safe. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Read a fucking book, people.